Hey guys, my name is Paula Sun, but you can call me the Change Navigator. I mean, that's why you clicked on the podcast, because of the name, right? All right, cool. I want to begin by saying welcome to my new listeners and welcome back to the faithful Navigators. If you have been listening to season 3, you already know that season 3 is all about the pivot. And I actually wrote an ebook about it. That's right. I wrote an ebook about pivot. It's called Pivot, 8 Keys to Reinventing Your Now. It is available on Amazon Kindle. So while you are listening to the podcast, just go on over to Amazon Kindle, grab you a copy of that ebook. I promise you, it has some things in there that will help you to successfully pivot. And guess what? It's only $5.99. All right. So let me get right to this segment. This segment is something different. It's something I've never done before. That's the title of this segment. I've never done this before. All right. The second half of 2021 has already started with a bang. 2 of the biggest headlines happened right at the beginning of July. We had the headlines about Sha'Carri Richardson and Tabitha Brown. And if you haven't heard anything about these 2 people, I'm almost certain, I'm almost positive your phone has been cut off or disconnected or something. There is no way you can have a cell phone in your hands without seeing any type of headlines about Sha'Carri Richardson or Tabitha Brown. And I don't know if it's possible to live to see July 6th and not know what happened with these 2 women. Again, I've never done this with my podcast ever. In almost a year of doing this, today, this episode, I'm doing something I've never done. And you guys will be a part of it. Yes, Navigators, you guys will be a part of it. You will get to experience for yourself in living color. Here's what I've never done. I've never talked about current events or shared my opinion about current events on my podcast. Now, I've talked about the pandemic last year because that's what our life was like. But when I say current events, I mean like news headlines. I've never, ever done that on my podcast. But on this one, I'm going to share my opinion because I believe everyone has an opinion and everyone is entitled to their opinion. I don't think people listen to my podcast because of my opinion. I don't think so, because my podcast is geared on trying to help people navigate through changes and trying to share stories of other people who have successfully navigated through changes in their lives. So it's not really an opinion-based podcast, but today I'm doing a hard pivot, and I'm making an adjustment in this second half. I'm not saying that all of the rest of my podcast will be on current events or news headlines, but today I'm going to talk about it, all right? So today's episode will be full of my opinion. So just take it all in. Just take it all in. Just take a minute to just woosah and know that I'm going to share my opinion. So I'm going to first start with my opinion of the Sha'Carri Richardson situation. Just a few weeks ago, many people were just getting acquainted with the Dallas native as she graced the television screen with her long hair, with her fingernail extensions, her tattoos, her long eyelashes, and her short, muscular frame. I believe the thing that amazes me most about this young lady is the fact that she is only 5'1" and she is super fast. I mean, ridiculously fast. And she doesn't have long legs. As a matter of fact, she's shorter than me. And I think I'm pretty, well, I'm not going to say tall, but she's shorter than me. She's only 5'1", and she is super fast. People questioned her about her decision when she decided to leave LSU to become a professional athlete. She had a goal in mind. I'm sure she made that decision with a goal in mind, and we saw things unfolding, and we were happy to see her on her way to accomplishing her goal. We were cheering for the Dallas native. We were rooting for this young girl, hoping that she would bring home the gold in the Olympics. I mean, there were memes going on around. There were comparisons of her being compared to FloJo. There was this image of her running, and it was like FloJo was in the background cheering. I mean, we were on the Sha'Carri train, right? But something happened. Something happened that will possibly delay the attainment of that goal of winning the gold medal in the Tokyo Olympics for the 100-meter race. We quickly embraced this young lady, and we saw how she ran to the arms of her grandmother after she qualified for the Olympics. We didn't know, and we still don't know what she felt in the moments when the reporter told her that her biological mother passed away. And from the information that I've been gathering, I'm told she found out about the death of her mother when the reporter told her. Now, imagine receiving that news on the big stage and then having to deal with it. What would you do? What would you have done? What if when she found out, nothing else mattered to her in that moment? What if the Olympics didn't matter? What if our desires as a collective for her to win were no longer her desires? This young lady, this 21-year-old young lady, made a decision to cope with her pain. She made a decision to cope with the information that she was given, and now the decision that she made was against the rules. While we may want to give her some slack, while we may want the rules to change because marijuana is legal in 19 of the 50 states in America, the fact remains that she broke the rules of the competition. But here's the beauty of it. Here's what I love about the entire situation. She owned it. She owned it. She didn't waste any time acknowledging it. She owned her mistake. She owned her lapse in judgment. She owned it, and I believe with everything in me that she will bounce back and she will be stronger because of taking responsibility for her decision making. She didn't blame anyone. She didn't blame anyone and say somebody made me do it, or the news that I got, or the reporter made me do it. She owned it. And at a very young age, she owned her decision. We can all take a page from Sha'Carri. When we make bad decisions and it impacts us, not just us, but those around us, we have to own it. We can't shift the blame. We can't find reasons to blame somebody else and say, oh, this person made me do it, or that happened and it made me do it. We just have to own it, because at the end of the day, we are responsible for our decisions. My hope and my prayer is that she will make the adjustments, whatever those adjustments may be, to do and to be whatever she wants to do. Whatever she wants to be. Listen, I'm cheering from here. Let's go, Sha'Carri. We will remember your name, young lady. Now, we're going to flip and switch to the next subject, to the next person, to the next black female in the headlines. Tabitha Brown. We witnessed something historical, something monumental. Tabitha Brown goes on record, goes on social media, and sincerely, I mean sincerely prays for Wendy Williams. Now, what led to this prayer was the fact that Wendy Williams took it upon herself to talk about Tabitha's situation based on her failed attempt to do the same thing. All right. So she decided that instead of looking at a situation with clear lens, she decided to put on the lenses of her experience and look at Tabitha's situation from those lenses and then speak on it based on her experience. So Tabitha decided that after 15 years as a police officer with the Los Angeles Police Department, her husband, Chance Brown, was able to turn in his badge due to the incredible success that she was recently enjoying. She decided to retire her husband from a job so that he could pursue his dreams. That's wonderful, right? I mean, that's goals for marriage, right? That's like, we're going to get in this thing. We're going to do this thing together. He worked 15 years. He stuck by her side while she was being rejected in the entertainment industry. He stuck with her until she got successful. And now she's like, babe, I'm successful. It's time for me to support you and allow you to pursue your dreams. That's goals. Well, Wendy Williams didn't think it was a great idea, and she expressed it. Why? Because we all have our opinion, and we are entitled to it. So basically, she told her audience, this is what Wendy Williams said to her audience. She said, I was married to one of those. I make the money and so on and so forth. And I would tell him, go live your dreams, open a business, go, go, go. You see how that turned out. I predict that this marriage is going to be on real rocky ground in a moment. How dare Wendy? How dare she say that Tabitha's situation is going to be just like hers? How dare her say that? So I'm going to stop with that. Now, let me be the first to say right here, I am no Wendy Williams fan. How you doing? Don't like it. I'm not a fan. But also let me play devil's advocate right here. Let me just play devil's advocate for a second. Wendy is responding like a hurt woman. She is responding like a woman who had a failed relationship. She is responding like a woman who has been scorned. And unfortunately, many women have found themselves in the same position as Wendy. Many women, none of us are exempt. We have found ourselves in the same position as Wendy. A failed relationship with a negative outlook on someone else's relationship based on our own similar experience. We've all been there. We've all looked at other relationships through those lenses. You may not want to admit it, but yes, you have. And some may have said something under this guise like this. Experience is a good teacher, and it doesn't have to be my experience that teaches me. So, we try to say, what we experienced taught us, and our experience taught us that if I did this, if A happens and B happens, then it'll yield C. That's basically what Wendy said. I tried this, and this is what happened. My situation ended in divorce, so I'm going to say that this is going to happen to Tabitha Brown. Well, hurt, bitter Wendy made the statement based on her experience, which we cannot negate her experience and the same experience of many other women. However, when you heal, you wish the best for others. When you love yourself, you wish the best for others, even if you had a bad experience. You wish others succeed in areas you haven't succeeded in, right? Well, that's what mature, healthy people do. And we all know and see, based on my opinion, based on my observation, that there is nothing about Wendy Williams that says healthy, other than her bank account. Maybe that's healthy. But her outward appearance, the words that come out of her mouth, nothing says healthy. All right? So now, of course, the Tabicatos, they heard what Wendy Williams said. They sent her the message, and they told her about it. And so after hearing all of that and probably making a good assessment of why Wendy would respond the way she did and speak negatively about her, Tabitha's response set the internet on fire. I mean, it set the internet ablaze. She actually made Wendy Williams relevant for a few days. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I had forgotten about Wendy Williams, to be honest, because I don't watch her. I mean, she's not really in the headlines, so she wasn't relevant. But the way Tabitha handled the situation, she made her relevant for a few days. And Tabitha got on camera. She got on camera with a smile, with no makeup, with her natural hair, with her beautiful teeth and nails. And she began to state the facts. She started by saying that she's been with her husband for 23 years, broke for a very long time together, struggled for a very long time together. And they succeeded the past couple of years together. She talked about things that she prayed about and put before God. And she talked about the power of God and the power of putting God first in your marriage. And God is first in their marriage. And that's why their marriage is successful. Now, the prayer that she prayed, that was probably one of the most powerful prayers I've ever heard someone pray. Okay? This was a powerful prayer. She starts off with these words. She said, I pray that love finds you and holds you tight. Ooh, that's powerful right there. I pray that love finds you and holds you tight. She said, I pray that someone will love you enough to see when you are not well, to see when you need true support, to see when you need compassion, to see when you need kindness. I pray that someone loves you enough to sacrifice their life for you. Listen, I was like, Tabitha, you better pray. Girl, you better pray. She said, I pray that type of love finds you so you can understand why I don't want my husband to put his life on the line anymore, wearing a bulletproof vest if he doesn't have to, and if that's not his desire. I love him enough that I want him to be safe. And I want him to coach children the way he wants to. Baby, Tabitha was praying. She was praying. And one of the most powerful things she said was, it wasn't in the prayer, but she was just talking and she said, a 9-to-5 or steady job takes away time from creativity. It takes away time that you want to pour into your real purpose. Tabitha then decided, let me finish praying for this woman. She said, I pray somebody finds you and that love finds you and excites you the way I'm excited about my husband being able to grow his business, pour into children, coach these kids, and do all the things he's dreamed about doing. Then it got real good to Tabitha at this point. She's like, ooh, honey, I pray this type of excitement and love finds you and anybody else who may not seem to understand this. I pray this type of love finds you. Sacrifice, compassion. I really do. I really, really do. She said this. She didn't just stop with her prayer for Wendy, but she said, let us all, everybody listening, everybody watching, let us all pray for people like Miss Wendy. She even put a title on her name. She said like Miss Wendy. And people like her who have been hurt or never found a genuine love that fills their heart with so much compassion and joy. Let us pray that love finds them. Now, listen, Tabitha prayed the most powerful prayer that I've ever heard a woman pray for somebody else who was hurt. That was prayer. That was powerful. I pray that love finds you and holds you tight. Whew. Now listen. After watching that video and hearing that prayer, I realized that I need God to work on me. As much as I pray for people, as much as I pray for other people. Baby, Tabitha prayed with such kindness. She prayed with such grace and such compassion for a hurting woman. There was not a neck roll. There was no finger pointing. There was no grabbing the air. There was no clapping the hands. There was no aggressive tone in anything. She prayed that prayer in love. And we can all take a page from Tabitha Brown. We can learn. Here's what I learned from that. And I really learned it watching her video. What's in you will come out of you. Tabitha is oozing, I mean oozing from the depths of her soul with love and happiness and compassion. And that's what came out of her. You know, we see the inspirational quote on Facebook or Instagram where it reminds us that how people respond to us is a reflection of what's going on inside of them. We can see the torment that's going on in Wendy Williams based on how she responded to a situation that nobody asked her opinion about. But we can also see the light in Tabitha Brown in how she responded to the negativity that Wendy Williams put out in the atmosphere. Listen, when I grow up, When I grow, because evidently I'm not all the way grown. I mean, after watching that prayer, I realized that I am not grown. When I grow up, I want to read like Tabitha. I want to pray like Tabitha. I want to love like Tabitha. And I want to shine like Tabitha. That was so classy. It gave us so much life. It gave us so much encouragement to know that this was a real life example of when they go low, we go high. May God bless Tabitha and Chance. And I'll echo the words of Tabitha's prayer. Wendy, I pray that love finds you and holds you tight. Thank you guys for listening to my opinion. That's all it was. It was my opinion and my takeaways. As always, the focus of this podcast is to help you navigate, survive, and thrive life's changes. And remember that life is simpler with navigation. I will end this segment with a phrase from my girl, Pookie P. Remember, people, when you change your thinking, your behavior will reflect it. Feel free to give me your feedback because I'd love to know how you feel about the podcast in general or any episode that you've listened to from season 1 to season 3. Check out my website for blogs and any upcoming events at www.thechangenavigator.info. You can email me if you want to chat with me, if you want to talk to me. You can email me at thechangenavigator@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at _change_navigator. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Change Navigator, or like my Facebook page, The Change Navigator. Let's stay connected. And until next time, keep going, navigators. You've got this. Bye-bye.